Annie, to my right, to your left is Christian Landaeta from Chile.
Okay.
You are so well known in South America. I don't need to tell you that. In Argentina.
Well, it's a shame because we've been there. Well, I've been there more times than the band has, but it's so expensive to go anywhere else. Do you know what I mean? It's and because we don't work enough, that's the problem. We don't earn enough money so that, and bad management in the past and stuff like that. That kind of thing.
Understood.
Yeah.
Well, we are very lucky that you're here, and as I say, my name is Claudio. We have met a couple of times. I live in Virginia, about 2-3 hours from you. I think you're in Pennsylvania. Is that correct?
Sorry?
I think you are in Pennsylvania.
I am in Pennsylvania, Bucks County.
I got you. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So let me make I want to go ahead and start the recording. Make a sort of formal introduction for the radio. From the studios in Fairfax City, we are very humble and grateful that Annie Haslam accepted our invitation to All About Music. Annie is an English vocalist, songwriter, and painter. She's best known as the lead singer of a progressive rock band called Renaissance from 1971. From 2002, Annie has also developed a parallel career as a visual artist. Annie, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I wish I was there in person.
Well, so what we want to do, we'll do like a round robin. I will ask a couple of questions, then Christian will do 2 or 3, and you can ask us questions to us and so on and so forth. I see your little dog down there on the right-hand side, right? Can you see it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, in the background.
Yeah.
Yes.
On camera. He's going to be famous too. So this is, Annie, this is a very weird for all of us. And, how this pandemic has affected your creativity and the Renaissance family.
Oh, terrible. Terrible. I've had a very bad time with it mentally as well. But we were going to Brazil. We found out we were actually rehearsing on the 12th and the 13th of March. We were rehearsing, and we were I was going to be going out to Rio to do interviews ahead of the tour, and on the second day of rehearsal, my gut feeling, because of what hearing the news and everything, was you don't go. You might get stuck down there, because you could see it was escalating by the minute, And so we did 1 day's rehearsal and we were fine. But I came home after the rehearsal and I was just could barely sleep. I thought, I've got everybody else's. I'm responsible for everything, for the band and everything. And I thought, and I didn't, as we didn't know, I thought we can't do it. We can't do it. I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed, but I think that's going to be taken care of, which I don't mean to say it like that, but it was, because it affected Brazil very badly. But yeah, 2 days before I was due to fly out, we got the phone call from our agent saying that the promoter was going to reschedule for August. And even then we thought, don't know about that, and it just got worse, didn't it? We were going to Brazil. That's been rescheduled now for next March, so we'll see what happens. And I was going to Portugal with Patrick Moraz. Do you know Patrick?
Yes,
of course.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't know?
He's a brilliant person, very silly, funny man. I don't know if you know him or you've met him, but he's ridiculous, just like me, really. Very funny. And we were going to be playing in Portugal together, just me and Patrick, and performing songs from Yes and Renaissance and some solo things. And that was cancelled. And I think it's getting bad in Portugal again right now as we speak. But and then we were going to Germany in July. And that was something that we'd been waiting for a long time. We were going to be headlining the Night of the Prague in a place called Lorelei in Germany. And it's on top of a mountain overlooking the Rhine.
Wow.
And it's the largest prog festival there is in Europe. And we were headlining one of the nights. And we waited for years for it, you know, and just everything. And then I was going to England to receive an award. That didn't happen. And then my Christmas show that I do every year, couldn't do that either. And so, and I was thinking of maybe this would be my last year. I was going to be retiring only because, you know, it's a lot of responsibility. But of course, with all this happening, that really kind of pushed me even further into the ground, you know. And I think that, but more than anything, and losing the work was the loss of life. And I cried nearly every day. It took me a long time, time. I'm not over it. I don't think we'll ever be over it, you know. And it's still going on. That's the scary thing.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, we are happy that we are alive, and I know that a lot of people.
What is it like in Chile? How did it affect the country, your country?
Yeah. We not only have the pandemic, Annie, we also have what they have called a social outburst. Like people are very polarized here, and some people are not happy about the way they are being treated. When you retire, the money you get when you retire is very, very little. So they've been complaining about many things, but they have become violent. So there's been some destruction, metro stations destroyed, buses destroyed. So it's not something that sounds rational, you know. So on top of that, we had the pandemic, and many people, well, you know, it happens everywhere, losing their jobs.
Yeah.
So it's really terrible. And we have a sort of election now here, like people are going to vote if they want a new constitution. And we are living that type of moment, like it's very critical on top of the pandemic situation. So it's, you know, double date.
That's interesting because that's happening here, isn't it?
Yeah, too. Yeah.
It has to, yeah. And it's happening. I know that I was speaking to somebody in England this morning, and the thing in England, you know, with Brexit is such a mess. And I was told that, I think this is true from what I hear, but if it goes through as it's supposed to go through, because England gets all the food, a lot of food from Italy, Spain, you know, a lot of Europe. And if that ends, then they still want that food to come in, but they're going to have to pay apparently 25% more. People are going to be paying that much more for their food, 25% on top of what the food is, because we're not part of Europe anymore. So it's a mess, And the pandemic there is getting very bad right now. My sister-in-law's over there too, and nobody knows what to believe, the same as over here, you know. It's like, who do you believe? And anyway, I will be singing again next year, but obviously next year will be my last year, I think.
Well, hopefully you will change your mind, and we can keep Annie and the band alive for many
Yeah,
years.
well, there's nothing like our music. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
There really isn't. It's very special. It's timeless, and very healing, I think. Very healing music. You know, makes you feel good. And
plus, you have a unique range, Annie. Let's not kid ourselves.
It's very good for calling the cats.
Yeah. And number two, if it wasn't you, right? If it was somebody else, the songs are very difficult to perform. It's not that easy to replay.
Yeah, well, you know, it is.
No,
for
it's
me.
not. It's not.
Well, it is for me. I mean, I guess that we were just a perfect match when I joined.
Yeah.
And you know, Jim McCarthy, who started Renaissance with Keith Relf, we flew him over last October 2019, and he joined us on stage. And we recorded the night at the Keswick Theatre for DVD, that's been delayed because of all the roadblocks and things going wrong, but it's going to happen. And because what we did is the song that I did for my audition, which is called Island, we orchestrated it. We scored it for an orchestra, and we played it with an orchestra. It had never been played with an orchestra before. So that was very special when he came over and did that. So that was wonderful. I just wish there was more time now, but you know, it's the same with everybody. It's kind of stopped so much, and in the music business, everywhere really, there's so much. Since I started managing the band, I guess that was in 2014, 13, 14. There's so much that goes into putting on a show. A lot of people don't realize all the people around, down to the people who sell the tickets and the people that clean the venues, you know, the cleaners and the lighting people. And there's so many people that have lost work. It's the same with, I heard that, have you been to America?
You asking me or just?
Either of you, you've been to America?
No, I've been living here in the United States since '86, so. Yeah.
So have you been to, did you go to Broadway and see a musical or a play or anything?
In New York I have seen, yeah, but.
Yeah, yeah, because we just heard that the Broadway is going to, they call it, when they close down, they call it, they're going dark. So Broadway is going dark now until next May.
Yeah.
So it's there's a lot of things. I feel like I'm saying negative things all the time. It's what we did with my boyfriend and I, we watched lots of funny movies and you know, to try and keep our spirits up.
Absolutely.
I was fortunate, and I still am fortunate, because I've got a large garden and I can go outside, and there's grass and there's trees, and you know, so that's good. I feel very fortunate and thankful for that. But not everybody has that, as we know. So just praying really that it ends soon, and
we hope so.
Yeah. And music is a healer, as you know.
Absolutely.
I saw the Genesis sign in the background there in your studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Steve Hackett is a friend of mine.
I spoke to him last week. He's so gentle and so kind.
He's lovely, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's lovely. Yeah. I went out for dinner with him and his wife and Lee Pomeroy and some other people when I was in England in January, and had a wonderful time with them. He's such a special man. Yeah. He's got to be the best on the planet for playing guitar.
He's very good.
It's between him and Steve Howe for me, really.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to say, Annie, that I haven't said hi. First of all, it's such an honor and a pleasure. I can't put it right in words, really. I'm not exaggerating, because I never forget the time when a friend of mine invited me to his home, and he opened this Carnegie Hall album, and then I went, wow, what is this?
What is this?
No, I mean, no, because I grew up like listening. When I saw Disney's Fantasia, I went crazy about Mussorgsky and Stravinsky, and then I got into prog rock. So this was a combination that was, oh, this is really something else.
Yeah.
And the performance of the band is so amazing, and the compositions, I don't have to say that. So it's really an honor to be here. Thanks, Claudio, for inviting me, because I never thought it would happen, and I was going to show you this because I have some magic powers. We never met, but I have this that you signed for me. How can it be?
Oh, you've got that.
Yeah. Claudio brought it to me. Yeah, it was a present from Claudio. So he met you in one concert. So he asked you to sign it for me. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Do you have the new one at a Symphony of Light?
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, he did bring it to me as well.
Orchestra?
That the 2017? Is that 2017? Yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah.
That was a dream come true. That was. Yeah.
I wish it came out on a Blu-ray format as well. I think it must be different.
Well, yeah, it would have been a lot more expensive for us to do that as well, and not very many people requested it. So we thought, you know, maybe we shouldn't do it. It's going to be another step and another cost, you know. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have some things that I don't know, Claudia. Should I go ahead. Okay. So I was going to ask you, Annie. Shall I call you Annie? You don't mind about that?
Better than George.
I'm so formal. Yeah.
You can call me Valerie or whatever you want, but Annie's the best.
Okay. Now I was going to ask you, did you ever consider, because I read about Ms. Sybil Knight, your teacher, did you ever consider going into opera and not into pop rock?
You know, she wanted me to do that. And it's funny because I found not so long ago, and I must put them in a special, they are safe, but I've got my papers that I sang from, and I never learned to read music all play an instrument. And I found these things where she was telling me how to hold my voice, and I wrote it all down. But I went to her for about 9 months, I would think, because I had a job that I didn't get very much money, and it cost me to go. I had to go back up into London and have lessons with her, and so I was there for about 9 months. And she said that she really would like she suggested that I take it further and go into opera, because I had the range and I had the tone in my voice. But I didn't. It didn't. Not that I don't like opera. I mean, I think with opera, if you're a music lover, it's something that you get used to and start to love later on in life. Then because you appreciate, it's just like it's a wisdom in everything, isn't it? And a wisdom in what you like in your music or anything, really. Just recently, there was a thing on Pavarotti on television, and it was bringing tears to my eyes. It was on for about an hour or two or something. But so I didn't fancy. What I thought it would be like staying in one place and performing in one place for a length of time. And I wanted to really travel the world, really. I had no idea I was going to at that point. I had no idea whatsoever what was going to happen to me.
Right.
And so she did want that, but I didn't. So I had the opportunity, because we would have taken it further somehow, but it wasn't for me.
I see. Now, do you see any difference between the so-called symphonic rock and progressive rock? Because people are eternally, arguing about it. For me, a progressive rock is more male. Oh. It's heavier, and it's more male. The lyrics are more male. I mean, you can't hear a guy singing Mother Russia, can you?
Yeah.
So that's we didn't. It wasn't for when was it? About 3 years ago. I said to Mickey, I said, we got to stop people calling us a progressive band, because we're not. We did. We were invited to be on Cruise to the Edge, which was a fantastic experience. You know about the Cruise to the Edge?
Yeah.
And that was that one was the Yes cruise, and it was fabulous. It was great, but the better one for us to be on, and we got invited on there like 2 years later, was the Moody Blues cruise, and it fitted the band better. It was just didn't have that hard edge to it. Do you know what I mean? That it was less hard rocky, not hard rock, but you know what I mean. And so I said to Mick, I think we're going to call ourselves a symphonic rock band. Just because it makes sense. That's what we are, really. We were one of the first bands, along with Procol Harum, really, to put a band, with an orchestra. And it makes sense, really, to call us that.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you remember when you did the Supper's Ready tribute to Genesis on Magna Carta Records? I
do.
Yeah, I don't know if you chose or you were asked to do Ripples.
I was asked to sing Ripples. Oh my God! Yeah.
It's a fantastic version, really. I even had, I don't know if you know, but I had the chance to work on radio for a long, long time. Now I teach English. I make a living by teaching English. That's what I studied.
Oh.
But I worked for several years on radio and progressive stations, and then I airplayed a lot, all your records. So and Ripples, this version was one of the things that I used to play. So I think it's really fantastic. How did it come about? Yeah,
it is. It's one of the best. I think I've got certain recordings that I think my voice just, and I don't have to sing high all the time. I love it when a voice soars but then can go down as well. Because I think that's. I mean, well, I shouldn't say this though, and I don't mean it to be judgmental, but John Anderson's voice is perfect in Yes. Because that's what made them, and it was a vehicle for his voice, and perfect. But for me, I mean, I love the band, but it was not enough for me. His voice, it was not enough. And when they were looking for a singer, when John went into coma, I think, didn't he? And he wasn't very well at all. But anyway, he when he left. I was put forward for the part, you know, that I think I could have done it, and it would have been different, but I could have easily done it. But I'm glad I didn't, because everything would have changed, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't change anything now, even though it's a bit of a struggle, you know. But I'm very proud of the music, you know, our music. There's nothing like it. So it's like, yes, there's nothing like it. I mean, there's so many bands you hear, can you listen to this and tell me what you think of it? And it sounds just like Yes. And you don't want to say, it sounds just like Yes. But it's a form of flattery, of course, when people want to, you know, emulate your music. But the idea is, if you want to be successful, then you have to create something new. But I think people love music so much, they do what they want to do anyway.
Claudia, you want to go on?
I always tell any young musicians, make sure you've got a proper job.
That's right. I agree. Yeah, I agree with you. It's funny that you mentioned Steve Hackett, because we spoke to him about 10 days ago, and this weekend we are going to be calling another Genesis member. I don't know if you know him, Anthony Phillips.
Oh yes, yeah.
Anthony
I've never met him, but I know him, of course.
Yeah, it was before Steve Hackett joined the band.
Yes.
We are very lucky that with the pandemic, a lot of people are home, so we are being lucky.
Oh, it's a good time. Yeah,
he's a very good guy. Right?
Did you speak to Patrick yet? Patrick Moraz?
No, but will be great if you can put us in touch.
I'll absolutely try and do that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I have seen you I saw you in 2019. I saw you in 2018 as well, in 2016. I sent Billy some pictures that I took from the 2018 show when you signed them for me. So
yeah, I couldn't open them. I got them just before we started this, and I got the email, and they were on Google or something, and I
will share with you later.
Yeah.
And let me take you back to 1971. Why you decided to join the band at the time in 71? What was the event in your life? Yeah. What was the event in your life?
Well, I was started singing. I would say 1969.
Yeah.
My brother was managed by Brian Epstein, the Beatles manager.
The Beatles manager. Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
His voice is magnificent. Have you heard that somewhere out there? You can hear it on YouTube. I'll send it to you. I'll send you an MP3 of it, and you can share it.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, his voice was a cross between Elvis and Roy Orbison.
Wow.
Oh, there's nothing like it. Every time I play this song, we did this song when I was recovering from breast cancer, and I went to England, and we were in his living room, and I was so bored, and it was raining crazy, and I said, can we record something or whatever? And he said, well, I've got my bass amp, and I've got the microphone I gave him, and he said we could record onto a video, blank video. And I thought, oh, I never heard of that. And this was in 1994, yeah. And so he had some karaoke tapes, and he put this karaoke tape on of Somewhere Out There, which is from The American Tale. Do you know that song? Somewhere out there beneath the
movie. I know the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we sang it together. Oh gosh, it was fantastic. Anyway, so I went in for talent competitions. I had a boyfriend who put me in for talent competitions, and we used to go and see my brother playing. Before he got signed up with Brian, he used to sing in these local London pubs and things, and I went in for talent competitions and won several of them. And then I got a job at the Showboat in the Strand, which was like a cabaret group. And there was like a drummer, a bass player, and a guitarist, 4 of us. And that was, it was fantastic. It was in a lovely place right in the West End of London. And we performed when the people were eating dinner, and then they had a cabaret show, but really, really, really fabulous, people, and they had dancers and everything, and everybody was really friendly. And then we performed for people to dance to as well after that. So it was kind of an odd introduction. My father told me, or somebody told me, that my father and mother came up from London to see me there, and they lived in Cornwall, and they came up and they were watching the show. And apparently, when we were on, my father turned round to somebody on the next table and said, "That's my daughter up there. She's better than Barbara Streisand, you know."
Wow. I agree with that.
So the great memories there. But anyway, the guitarist in that group, called the Gentle People, he said one day, he said, "Annie," he said, "I've just found this advert in the Melody Maker. And he said, you're wasted here. You should be doing something else. You shouldn't, you know, this is not where you should be." And it was an advert for a girl singer wanted for an internationally known pop group. And I thought I'll try it. And it was like, I went for the audition. I called up to see who it was, and they said Renaissance, and I'd never heard of them because I hadn't. I think that's when ELO were coming out, because I bought that album, and then of course I ended up engaged to Roy Wood, who was from ELO, right? But that's one of the few albums I ever bought, and I ended up with him. That's weird. Anyway, that's it. I've never heard of them, and so Renaissance, and so I bought the album, the only album they had, and I learned every single thing on it. And one of the songs was Island, and I got there. It's Church Hall, and I think it was in Weybridge. It was in Surrey. Weybridge I think it was. And they asked me to sing Island, and I knew it so well, and my voice was just perfect for it. It was just like, you just sat right on top of it. That was it, you know. And Jim McCarthy and Keith Relf were there, and you know, their eyes were popping open when I sang, you know, and that was it. I got the job. Within 3 weeks, I was terrified. I mean, I used to stand on stage with my hands tight like this in front of me, and because, well, the other place I had a microphone, which I felt a bit odd with a microphone in the lead anyway. But yeah, we went to Germany, and that was, yeah, the first job was in Germany, and I was like a backing singer, because there was a lead singer called Terry Crow in the band. And I sang one song on my own, I think, two, maybe Island, and another one called Face of Yesterday. And the rest of it, I was doing ooh, ahs, and that kind of thing. And, but then there were many changes when Miles Copeland came into our lives, who became our manager. And you probably know Miles from managing the Police, his brother Stuart, and
brother Stuart, yeah.
And so within 4 years of me joining the band, we were in Carnegie Hall.
Wow.
4 years. That's pretty quick, isn't it, when you think about it? Yeah. 4 years. Good, man. And wow. Then 2 years after that was the Albert Hall.
Yeah.
The Royal Philharmonic Orchestra and the New York Philharmonic Orchestra there. It was incredible. Yeah. Wow. And of course, to play with a real orchestra, well, we recorded with an orchestra on Ashes Are Burning. I remember the first song we did was Carpet of the Sun, and I was standing next to John Tout, you know, our keyboard player. And when the orchestra came in, because we did a backing track, and I think I did a guide vocal for it. And then the orchestra came in, and the orchestra kind of, you know, came into song, and like John and I looked at each other and burst out crying. It was just so emotional. It was always meant to be that we perform with an orchestra. That's why, you know, when we did 2017, that was a dream come true to do that. And then we did it again last October with the same our own Renaissance Chamber Orchestra. There's nothing like it. And it's like a band it's like a 16-piece band on stage. That's what it's like. Everybody loves each other and loves the music. The orchestra just loved playing it, because it's not easy stuff. You know, even the orchestrations are not easy, you know. Did that answer your question?
It does. But so looking back in your life, I mean, you're not just a unbelievable vocalist, songwriter, but you're a very well-known painter as well. So
I love painting. Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I
you have
can't.
many talents. You're very fortunate.
Yeah, well, I went to art school to be a dress designer originally, and while I was at art college, you know, I did typography, I did photography, I did fabric design and printing, I did pottery, and I had one art class, and it was for watercolor, and I did one. I didn't even finish the painting because it bored me to tears because it dried before I could do anything else. I thought, I don't like this. So I never really painted. After that, I doodled a lot, you know, when in the studio with Roy, used to kind of do little drawings and things. But didn't start painting until 2002. The floodgates opened. And that couldn't stop. I've not stopped since. I love it so much.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Go ahead, Christian.
Okay. I'd like to take you now to, well, I must mention that Ashes Are Burning is my one favorite song in all the discography of Renaissance, so thank you for that. I finally have the chance to thank you for that, really. So now, I was going to take you somewhere else. I have a personal thing for cats. I think you also do, in animals in general.
Yes.
Yeah, I really am crazy about cats. They are so loyal and fun and talkative sometimes. You have a special relationship with cats or animals in general, don't you?
Oh, anything that moves. I love all animals. I won't even stand on an ant. If there's a fly stuck in the house, I've got to get it and take it outside because it's got a right to live like anybody else. You know, that's just the way I am. Yeah. This is. I can show you a little angel here. Come here, angel.
Yep.
This is my little.
Wow.
Nice.
She is. She was from a puppy mill, and a puppy mill is where they put these little animals in cages and make them have babies as long as they can until they start to. Once they start getting deformed, the babies, they get rid of the you know, the mothers, and this was little angel.
Yeah.
It took a while. She was traumatized when she came to me, but they're all rescues. I've got 2 other cats inside, and I did have 8 feral cats. Do you know what a feral cat is? Like a wild. They're not really wild because they've all got their own houses out there and they've got names, and I feed them twice a day. You know, and if they get sick, then I have to take them to the vets. But yeah, I love all animals. I just, yeah.
Have you ever made a song about them? I don't know really.
Let's think about it. Not of my own. Yeah, that's a question. Now nobody's ever asked me that. I did write a song with Michael Dunford about dolphins, and it's called A Dolphin's Prayer. Have you heard that? It's on the Tuscany album.
Yeah, I remember that.
Have you heard that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And but no, I haven't. I think that's something that I might have to do.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. I never thought of that.
Now, what's the difference between, how different do you think it would have been to stay in England? Because you decided to be in the United States, I don't know when, but I was going to ask you about that. And what about the welcoming in every region? The most rewarding territories for you as Annie Haslam and as Renaissance, regarding popularity, what do you think it's greatest? Like, what do you feel at best?
Well, I think that sadly, because I really don't blame, I can't blame the managers, because I think a couple of the band members were very adamant about making decisions and things. But I think we spent in the 70s too much time was concentrated on the East Coast of America, because that's where we made a lot of money, and we were very popular, you know. And in England, we had a hit with Northern Lights. So, but yeah, I mean, if we'd have stayed in England and we hadn't broken up, you know, we'd still be working now, I'm sure, because prog music is, and all over Europe. We have actually been to Europe with this band, with the new band, which was fantastic. But we went to Israel, we went to Portugal, we went to Germany, Belgium, and Japan 2018 again. And we went to South Korea, and Brazil, of course, and Argentina. But it wasn't constant. It wasn't planned out properly. It wasn't. I'm glad it's difficult because just thinking just about the personalities and things, I think it would have broken up anyway. Just because when you get older, you grow in different ways. I never thought I was going to be a solo artist, and it's not like, oh, I'm going to leave the band and become, you know, when I did Annie in Wonderland, I remember John Tout wasn't well for a few months, so I took the time then with Roy, who was my fiance at the time, Roy Wood. Sire Records said, do you want to do a solo album? And that's when we did that, you know. But I would say, you know, America and England are our biggest markets, and Brazil. But I think we could have been as big as Genesis if we had the right guidance, or kept our own mouths shut and just let somebody guide us. But I wouldn't be here now talking to you, and I might not even be painting. That might never have come to me because I'd be doing something else. So I'm fine where I am. It's, you know, we've been doing a couple of tours a year, which is, of course, is not really enough to survive on, really. But it is what it is. That's why this year was like such an exciting year coming up, and then we had been asked to do the Cruise to the Edge again next year. Now that's not happening until 2022, but we probably won't do it because the people who'll do it who were supposed to be on this one this year. So I will see what happens. You know, my John Wetton was a very close friend of mine, and I know Jeff Downs well, of course, and the guys. And in the summer, I asked Jeff if he was would be interested in writing a song for John, and we're actually I'm recording Jeff is in England, so he's done all the backing tracks, and we've already I'm going to be recording it on Thursday. Actually, it's called Stars in Heaven. It's gorgeous, it's lovely, and so that's something that I'm going to do. I mean, it's not the same as it's nothing like what I thought I'd be doing this year, you know, but I'm excited about it. So I'm open, I'm kind of opening my mind to, you know, I know a lot of people are doing these Zoom, you know, Zoom shows and things, but I don't really want to stand in my den and sing Mother Russia. It wouldn't do it justice, you know. And I mean, the band is at its best when it's got the atmosphere and the lights and the audience, the live audience, you know, and then and the music is just goes out there. But to do it in the den, you know, with Angel going, you know, something like that. So no, we're not doing that. If that was one of your questions,
that would become a rare version, a sought after version.
A rare version. Did I answer the question okay?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yes. Well, I was going to ask you also, Annie, about the Nevada years. Is that so? That why did the band not go on? Nevada was so beautiful songs.
Yeah, they were lovely. Yeah, I think. Well, we didn't. I don't think we really thought that we'd take it on the road. I think we just did it in between times. Because we weren't working, let's do something different. And we met, you know, Mickey introduced me to Peter Gosling, and Peter's pretty well known in the television world in England. He's done a lot of music for children's shows and you know, that were very, very popular. And now his son Jake is a very well known record producer, and what's the guy with the red hair? The solo artist. no, oh gosh, what's he called? I can see him now. But Jake Gosling is his son, very famous right now, and doing very well as a record producer.